Gil, if you want to intro Evan, we can get this thing started.
All right, brilliant. Welcome, guys. Everybody who is dropping in, thanks for coming. Today we have the one and the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Evan Beach of Equity Prime Mortgage. Evan has been instrumental in helping us grow our business, and he is a consummate mortgage professional. Every time I hear Evan speak, I learn something new, partially because he is a depth of knowledge, and also because he's in this every day, and the industry constantly changes. So he's an awesome allied resource to have to tap into to understand how to finance properties, because 8 or 9 out of 10 properties that close are financed through a lending institution. And, it's good to keep up on the latest information on that, and then have somebody that is that professional and educated and experienced to lean on to guide our clients through the process, because the whole purpose of the company, our company, team, and really anybody that's in real estate should be to help the clients achieve their goals. In order to do that, they're more than likely to need a couple $100,000. And Evan is the type of guy that can help them be prepared to be worthy of being lent that kind of money. So Evan, go ahead and take it away.
Hey guys, good morning. Everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Thumbs ups. Or good afternoon, I guess, since it's 12:03. Can everybody see Arnold here? Good, cool. So yeah, and if you don't say this sentence with like an accent involved when you read this, there's something a little wrong with you. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of reintroduce myself, I guess, for people that, for the newbies that are here, and maybe even people that I've been working with for a few years, like things you may not know. But yeah, just quick bio on myself. Interests, it's kind of like a quick little resume. Interests: love hanging with my family. Kelly, my 5-year-old Archie, 2-year-old Macy, which I had there we are. This is them all put together. This is not reality. Normally they are covered in some type of magic marker, dirt, some type of weird film that kids try to that they somehow accumulate. So, but this is a stage picture, Photoshop. So this is not reality, but that's the fam. I also enjoy my 2 bigger kind of passions, I guess, outside of helping people find homes. Love surfing, and just a couple quick shots surf wise. There's a couple here. Just put some a couple other ones here. 1 second. Couple of these, no big deal, guys. Don't feel threatened or anything by this. So, and also love golfing. This is a hole-in-one, first hole-in-one I've had in Florida in 2020. And second one which was last summer. So again, guys, not a big deal. Do not feel threatened or anything like that. I'm just an everyman. Also, volunteer work. We volunteer with it's called AWEL. It's a walk on water. They take people with special needs surfing. We do sponsor their event every year. Also, David's Dream and Believe is a cancer foundation, supports people with that have been stricken by cancer and have potential deaths from cancer. Every loan that we close, we donate $50 to them. So we've donated probably over 100 grand at this point. I list music. I make sure I say going to see it, not actually playing it, because I can't play an instrument for anything. But living in Asbury Park for a decade is a big part of that. Networking. I'm a big networker. I'm a big people person. I'm constantly going to events. Especially now that the world's back opened after COVID. I'm constantly going to events. I'm involved in a networking group. I go to many networking events throughout the area here. I'm Capricorn. I like long walks on the beach. Dislikes, rate hikes, which has been a theme over the last 3 months here, which we'll dive into a little bit. Also, don't like mean people. I don't know who likes mean people. Also dislikes Red Sox, Eagles, and Flyers. I'm a Yankees, Giants, and Devils fan, so that's part of why I listed that as dislikes. Yeah, getting into the actual professional stuff as I list here. I've been in the mortgage business since 2004, so obviously been through a couple markets here. I get asked questions all the time. Hey, are we in another housing bubble? Are property values going to dip? Are we going to lose 15-20% of equity in the property? It's a question we get all the time, and I'll dive into why this market is not like 2009 in a little bit. But I refer to 2004 through 2008 as the Wild Wild West in the mortgage business. There was truly no guidelines to lending. If you had a pulse, you were getting $500,000. If anybody's seen the movie The Big Short, that is not far off from reality, where they have, nothing against strippers by any means, but they show strippers, getting lent. She says she owns 5 houses and all this other stuff, and that was a big part of the problem of the housing crash in 2009. Was anybody was getting lent money, and you couple that with faulty appraisals, appraisals that were juiced up and basically fake. Which is part of the reason why we are not allowed to contact appraisers directly anymore. Where back then I had the appraiser's cell phone number, and I would call them and say, hey, I know this, you told me it's going to be 300 grand on this property. Any chance we can get 350? And sure enough, that's how the appraisers came back. So anyway, been through a bunch of markets, helped thousands of families achieve their home ownership dream. So my job's awesome in that aspect, much like you guys, bringing them through the toil of the potential, especially in this market. The home buying process can be rewarding once you get to the closing table and they're buying that house for their family. So it's a pretty awesome and rewarding job. So I share in that responsibility along with you guys. I'm a certified mortgage advisor. This is a program that came out about 2 years ago. That's done through a corporation called MBS Highway, and it's deep, intense training into every aspect of mortgage lending, which is awesome. So again, certified mortgage advisor takes it a step further, which leads me to my next point there, educator. Like Gil said, and thank you for the kind words in the intro, Gil. I'm very much education based when it comes to referral partners like yourselves, and also clients in general. I mean, every single person that gets referred over, I think everybody that's sent me somebody in the past, I've replied and said, hey, yeah, just talked to John and Mary Smith. Yeah, I talked to him for an hour in first conversation. So we're going through everything because, again, typically the largest financial transaction you make in your life, we want to make sure that everybody's educated and knows what's going into this. And part of the reason why I was excited to do this kind of thing with you guys is because, knowledge is power in this industry right now. There has been such an influx of people that have zero training and zero idea what they're doing, especially in the last year and a half, 2 years, that the industry is shifting. We're calling it the kind of the great consolidation, where the cream's going to rise to the top, and people that are knowledgeable and know how to get things done and know how to do transactions in the right way and know how to usher people throughout the transactions properly are going to flourish. And the people that have no idea what they're doing and got hired on to some real estate brokerage and they're like, cool, get your license, go sell some homes, and have zero training are going to be out of the business. Because as anybody on this call who's had an offer accepted for their clients in the last 2 to 3 months knows what it takes and knows the how hard it is to get offers accepted. So again, all part of what we do here as far as from coming from an education standpoint. So good, now we're having fun, right? Come on, guys. So what I'm going to go through today is basically the home buying process. Lauren asked me to run through this because even if you've been in the business for a few years and you understand what goes into a transaction, I wanted to kind of nail down, hey, once you guys have an offer accepted, what that looks like. And obviously kind of walk you guys through that and what we do, more so behind the curtain, and dive into that a little bit so you understand the process. And touch on appraisal shortages because it is a huge thing in the market right now. I would say 85–90% of appraisals we're getting back right now are short or light in some fashion. So you have to be educated on that and understand what's going into appraisal shortages. Touch on rates. Always a question somebody asked me initially without fail when I talk to somebody gets referred over, a potential buyer, is what are your interest rates? Without fail, that comes up in the first few sentences. So it's a big topic, especially with what's gone on in the last 3 months. So I'll touch on that. And lastly, I wanted to hit renovation financing as well, because it is a very useful tool for you guys, and it can get confusing and complex and convoluted. So just wanted to give you a basic layout of what renovation financing is. You know, again, we have renovation financing classes that we provide with that you get CE credits for that are 2 hours long. And that is obviously involved. And even then, there's still more to it. So again, a lot of this stuff, you know, hitting each topic for 10 minutes is going to be, you know, dipping your toe in some of these topics. So as always, and I'm also going to do this kind of, you know, Lauren asked me how we wanted to handle this. I'm going to do Q&A throughout this because I think if there's topics that pop up, just stop me, interrupt me and say, hey, what's this? What's that? I feel like it's better to do it more so like a conversation like that, rather than writing questions down, then jumping back slides. I think as we move on with this, it's the easiest way to do it. So without further ado, I'll just kind of dive into this. So this is, you know, I mentioned I'm going to go through the process. This is kind of a flyer that I developed, and I go through this with all of my clients initially here. And I feel like it's very much a nice kind of yellow brick road to home ownership and what's going to happen and what goes through this. So in essence, you know, the first thing is initial consultation, mortgage pre-approval. You know, they come to you guys and they're interested in 123 Main Street in any town, USA. They may be interested in the home. They don't know how they're going to buy it. And that's really where we would step in. And without fail, we want to figure out, the first step is always to figure out not only what you can afford and what you want to afford. What we mean by that is I can go through the whole pre-approval process with somebody, come back and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you're pre-approved. I got you pre-approved for a $3 million mortgage. Problem is, Mr. and Mrs. Jones are not going to be too stoked with the monthly payment on a $3 million mortgage. So we want to figure out, you know, what can they go up to? And then we want to figure out what do they want to spend. So that's a big part of this, is having those initial conversations, because people need to be reined in sometimes. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people that were thinking that they're going to purchase a $600,000 house, and I ask them what they're trying to spend, what's their monthly budget cap, and they turn around and tell me that they're, you know, spending $1,800 a month in rent, and they want to keep it right near there. I mean, how am I going to do that on a $600,000 purchase? Unless you're putting, you know, $500,000 down. So again, it's very important to set those expectations, figure out what they really want to afford, and also from a mortgage planning perspective, what's the goal of the house? You know, what's the goal of the purchase? Are they going to, is this a first-time home buyer? Are they going to buy a cape that's, you know, 1,500 square feet that has, you know, 2 bedrooms and a bath, and then they tell me that they're going to have kids in the next few years? I know for a fact that they're most likely out of that house in 3 to 4 years. So from a mortgage planning perspective, we want to keep that in mind, because that can affect directions and loan programs and money down and interest rates and all those things that we would plan on for them. So all these things that we have that we try to handle in the initial conversations here. We also do fully underwritten pre-approvals, and anybody that knows me and knows Equity Prime, and as far as how we've gone through this, we're very detailed up front, which is what you want, and it's basically a necessity in this market. Again, anybody that's presented offers or anybody that's listed homes understands that when a buyer comes to you, they're going to want to see a rock solid pre-approval, along with a good offer and along with waiving inspections and waiving appraisals and giving them their firstborn child to have the offers accepted. That's what sellers want to see right now. So it's almost a necessity. But again, it allows us to go to bat for the clients. And basically, when you're close to having an offer accepted, every single offer I've had accepted for my clients in the last 2 to 3 months, every single one of them, the listing agent has called me and said, hey, what's the deal with Joe and Mary Smith? And I can go to bat for them and say, hey, we have a fully underwritten pre-approval. We've gone through this, we've gone through that. We're not in the business of, getting things under contract, hoping they close. We're not wasting anybody's time. Here's why it's solid. Here's why it's going to get to the closing table. The only reason it wouldn't get to the closing table is if, Joe or Mary lose their job for some reason or something dramatic happens. And it goes a long way to having offers accepted. But also in this process, we're going to determine loan program, money down, monthly payment, like I just mentioned, parameters for that, which again, it then is going to in turn allow us to reverse engineer how much they want to spend on the home. What's their purchase price range? Because somebody may think they want a $600,000 house, and I talk to them with and figure out their monthly payment parameters, and we realize, hey guys, you want to spend $2,500 a month, and you want to put down 5% on this property. I mean, good luck having an offer accepted, number one, but your range is now going to be, 350 to 400 purchase price is realistic. So that's a big part of my job too, is screening the buyers for you. So you're not showing them properties that they have no business of looking at. Once we get past that, home shopping, working closely with you guys and getting updated listings, having them on the drip campaigns, keeping in contact with them that you guys handle. And as they're looking at properties, they can send me the listings prior to even going to see the properties once we have the pre-approval done, which then really allows them to be educated from a perspective of, hey, I know I'm going to see 123 Main Street. I know it's going to cost me X amount per month. And I know if I put 10% down, here's what that looks like. So in any transaction, they're going to want to know, what's the monthly payment look like and what's my out-of-pocket expense? What's my down payment? What's my closing costs? So those are the two things they're always going to look at. And we're able to accurately assess this once we have the pre-approval done, knowing the loan programs that they could potentially go into. Making an offer, negotiating, this is where you guys are earning your keep, basically. Going to bat for the client, educating them as far as, I always step back when somebody asks me, what do you think this property's worth? You live in Wall, what do you think this property's worth? I'm like, whoa. Talk to Jill, talk to Sam, talk to Gil. That I step away from that. So this is where you guys, earn your paychecks, basically. And once they have an offer, that they're looking to put in, we would tailor the pre-approval letter with the offer and make it look as professional as possible. Again, I already mentioned I can help out and speak with the seller in multiple offer situations, which is extremely common in this market. Once an offer gets accepted, as you guys know, again, this is kind of a little bit more rudimentary stuff, but goes into attorney review. Very important to educate clients that once you have an offer accepted, doesn't mean that it's under contract. You have to go through attorney review, which can last 2 days, can last 10 days. And this goes to, and I know Joe preaches this all the time, but working with a team that knows what they're doing from top to bottom, from you guys to myself, to attorneys, to title companies. Everybody needs to work in concert and know what they're doing. Because if you have an attorney that knows what they're doing and can get on this right away, get in and out of attorney review, get an ironclad contract for your clients, it's that much stronger. So things that are done in attorney review, they'll go over the verbiage of the contract. They'll go over what's included in the sale. Hey, is the refrigerator staying? Is the appliance staying? Is that nice chandelier in the foyer staying? All that stuff gets done in attorney review, gets hammered out. They finalize some closing dates, and I'm doing air quotes for finalizing closing dates, because anybody that's gone through a transaction understands that especially in New Jersey, the closing dates are kind of an idea, more or less. Not so much ironclad by any means, but anyway, they kind of more give us an idea of a closing date. Once that happens, you're under contract. And at that point, we're then sending an application for the specific property that they are now basically applying for. All we've done so far is done a blanket pre-approval. So the application gets sent to our clients. The figures in there are direction that we're looking to go. It's nothing that's final as of yet, so we don't have tax title work, anything like that back. So we're just estimating at this point. Big part of this, especially in this market now, is the rate locking strategy. We can't lock an interest rate till somebody is typically under contract and we have a closing date. You know, I get this question all the time. Can we lock? Can we lock? Okay, I need two pieces of information. I need a contract that you are technically under contract for property, and I need a closing date. If I have those two things, yes, theoretically I can do a rate lock for you. Then it gets into the timing of the closing. You know, if somebody tells me they get under contract today and they're closing, you know, July 15th, all of a sudden I'm like, all right, guys, you're looking to do a 90-day rate lock. It's going to be very expensive to do that. So does it? Then it's a matter of educating them as far as rate locking strategy. Do we float? Do we lock? That's a big part of my job. Also, when you get under contract, as you guys know, you're going to have home inspections scheduled as soon as possible because, you know, that's the next step. Again, I understand a lot of people are waiving home inspections and doing psycho stuff like that in this market, but home inspections is a part of it. And obviously, you guys know what goes into home inspections. If they have home inspection contingencies, this is their fail-safe to go back to the seller if anything is wrong with the property and request repairs or request credits. And I mentioned this because, again, this is for clients, guys. So I mentioned approximately $500 for a home inspection. It's the first out-of-pocket expense. At that point, we typically wait to order home appraisals until inspections are done because, again, if there's an issue with the home inspection, if during the home inspection they find out that, you know, there's massive structural issues or termite damage or mold, and your client gets freaked out and is like, I'm out of here, I'm not buying this property, we don't want to have them spend money on a home appraisal too. So that's why we typically wait to order home appraisals until the inspection contingencies come back. Now, I'll touch on the appraisals and things like that in a minute, but again, second out-of-pocket expense, $500. Processing of the mortgage, this is kind of where Lauren asked me to touch on. What we do once that happens, and they're under contract, we're getting in, and now we're getting our hands dirty and doing our work. We're updating documentation. You know, we're updating pay stubs, updating W-2s. Anybody that's gone through a mortgage or has dealt with me or anybody in the past knows that pay stubs that you provided for pre-approvals are probably, you know, expired. Credit may need to be updated. We now are ordering tax and title work from the title company. Waiting on the appraisal. Once we get the appraisal back, we can issue commitment letters. At that point, homeowners insurance, clients are typically poking around for homeowners insurance at that point as well. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of what we're doing at that point from a timing perspective. Now, I think that the question that Lauren had too was, you know, from your standpoint, how involved do you guys want to be once you get to the point of having an offer accepted, getting under contract? I mean, realistically, once that deal is under contract, we're kind of taking the reins with it. Myself and my team are now going to be really quarterbacking the deal. And there's really not a ton for you guys to do from that point because you've negotiated, you've got them under contract, you've done your job. So at this point, it's up to us to hit these milestones, to hit these closing dates. Now, if a client's being unresponsive or, you know, has a question about something for the house related, then obviously you guys are being involved. And at that point, just holding their hand. So we do our thing. You know, we're in constant contact with them. We have expectations set back on this. You know, when we're sending out the application initially for the property, I'm having a conversation like, hey, don't run up any credit card debt. Don't buy furniture for the property you're trying to purchase right now. Don't go run up, you know, $20,000 at Raymore and Flanagan. You have to walk on eggshells financially till we get this closed. Don't run up credit. Don't pay things late. Don't make any kind of crazy bank deposits. Don't pull out, $15,000 out of your mattress and put it in as cash in your bank account. All those things I have to coach these people, because you'd be surprised what people do. So all those things, that's where we're taking ownership of the file and really just getting it to the closing table in essence. And once we get to the point of getting those magical words, which is clear to close, closing disclosures have to be sent out 3 days prior by law. So again, this is stuff that we keep in mind from a timing perspective, knowing that, okay, we have a deal that's closing next Tuesday. We know we have to get those closing disclosures out today, or else it can't close Tuesday. It's going to get pushed back. So all very important things that we take care of kind of behind the scenes here. And again, as you guys know, closing takes place at attorneys and titles offices. So I'll pause there for a second. Do you guys have any kind of questions regarding anything with this? I know this is a topic Lauren asked me to kind of hammer in. So anybody have any questions regarding any of this stuff with the process or what we do at certain milestones here?
I think Lauren kind of said that, because I was asking a lot of questions, because I felt like, I lose the reins there, Evan. Like all of a sudden it is the ball's in your court, and I didn't know if I was supposed to be like reminding them of something. So I'm glad that you said that. And I've also had buyers, like one right now, who's kind of overly asking things. So she thinks that she's supposed, or that like she always came to me, which is fine, but I'm learning it's really you right there. So that's good. So we should just kindly direct them to you.
Yeah, I mean, look, ideally, if I'm handling the mortgage, then yes. The scary part of this is that, like, again, no offense to larger banks like your TDs and Wells Fargo's and things like that, but this is where it gets scary. Just saying, hey, you're under contract, here you go, get it to the closing table, because they're just not going to have the hand holding that I would do. That's kind of the big difference. But yeah, if I'm personally handling the transaction, this is the process that we would go through, knowing that we have to hit certain dates. So yeah, no, I mean, these are all great questions, because again, and this all depends on the client too. You're going to have clients that are easygoing and will listen to me and take direction. Great. And then you're going to have clients that, even if I'm walking them through the process, they're still going to be calling you for whatever reason. So it's not a cookie cutter thing by any means. Every client's going to be different. But for the most part, once they're under contract and I've done my thing and set the expectations for them, I mean, it's kind of hands off unless they have questions for you guys.
Evan, I think Luke has his hand raised for a question.
Hey, what's up, Evan?
What's up, buddy?
With these, like with Zillow leads and Opcity leads and whatnot, we're meeting them for the first time, and for the most part, they want to put an offer that day. They're not pre-qualified. Time it's like, it's a hot house. We have to have the offer in by that night or the next day. What would you recommend in that scenario? Because I know that they have to go through kind of a lot to get the pre-approval, right? Or what would you recommend in that scenario?
Yeah, so look, we're flexible, and I'm very flexible with, it's not that we have to say, hey, they have to go through this extensive pre-approval process to get a pre-approval letter. If somebody sees a property, and again, this goes back to everybody should be getting pre-approved yesterday, but it's not reality. So yes, if somebody sees a property they really love and they're hot to trot to put in an offer, I can take that into consideration. If I'm going to talk to them, I can do kind of a quick kind of pre-qualification for them. And look, if it looks like they're both W-2 employees, they've both been at their jobs for over 2 years, they're telling me they got $100,000 in the bank and they're going to put down 20%, and they know what their credit scores are. The credit scores are 780 and 800. They're telling me they don't have any debt. Going off of that, as long as we can just get an application in and a credit report pulled,